This is Alan Fine. I'm here with Tsering Tobgay, who is the Prime Minister of Bhutan. Bhutan is between China and India, and it is carbon negative. So we're going to find out what we don't know about Bhutan here on Insider Travel Report. Prime Minister, thank you for talking to us.
Thank you for having me.
So my first question is, tell us about Bhutan itself. How large is it, and how is it divided? There's mountains, there's forests. Just an overview.
So Bhutan is a small country in the Himalayas. We call ourselves small, but actually we're the size of Switzerland, Maine, I believe, in America.
Okay.
Yeah, so about 40,000 square kilometers. And we are bang in the middle of the Himalayas. Mm-hmm. So we are nothing but mountains and valleys. Our mountains can go as high as 7,500 meters above sea level. And then our foothills can go as low as about 100 meters above sea level. But it's all just gigantic, steep mountains and very deep, narrow valleys. Almost all of it is covered by forests. So any place where the environment will allow a forest to grow, we have forests. Anything above the tree line, obviously, we have nothing but snow and glaciers year-round. So there, we don't have forests. So as of now, more than 72% of our country is under forest cover. So, fun fact number one, we are carbon negative, as you said. We sequester many times more carbon than we actually emit, and that makes us carbon negative. One of a very few select countries, the others being Suriname and Panama, that are carbon negative. So we are a carbon negative country. We take environmental sustainability very, very seriously. We are a biodiversity hotspot. Why? Because we have some of the oldest forests that have been protected in Bhutan. Our natural parks, our national parks, our wildlife sanctuaries are protected by law, but they are all interconnected with biological corridors, so that means wildlife can roam freely throughout our country. Fun fact, our constitution requires that a minimum of 60% of our country is under forest cover. Today I said it's more than 72%. Mm-hmm. The constitution, our laws require us to keep it that way. We have the tallest unclimbed mountain in the world. The highest unclimbed mountain in the world at 7,560 odd meters above sea level, Kankarfinsum. Why is it unclimbed? Because we have laws prohibiting mountaineering above 6,000 meters above sea level. Why do we have laws prohibiting mountaineering? Because we believe our spirits, our deities, our guardian deities live in those mountains.
One of the reasons I would think tourists come there is to see how pristine and beautiful it is. When did you open up tourism and why?
This year, 2024, we are celebrating 50 years of tourism. Because we opened up tourism in 1974. That was the year we welcomed our first tourists during the coronation of our first king. So we are celebrating 50 years of tourism in Bhutan. During these 50 years, we've been very careful to ensure that we are not overwhelmed with tourist numbers. In fact, we've always had a policy of high value, low volume, and those low volumes are very, very small in number. That number has grown very gradually over the years, from beginning with a dozen in 1974, a dozen tourists.
Wow.
In 1974, to now we have about 160,000 tourists a year. So we don't want to go above 300,000. So we have a little breathing room right now, so to speak, but we will cap it at 300,000 tourists.
So our travel advisors are now looking through their contact list thinking who could audition and be good enough to come to Bhutan.
Well, we'll begin with you.
Well, thank you. I would like to visit. I'm having my audition. Thank you. Thank you very much. So I hate talking about COVID, but it would be interesting to hear how Bhutan handled it.
Well, we must talk about COVID because it shows how interconnected we are as a world, as a people. like all other countries, we took a big hit economically because tourism came to a standstill. So even though numbers are small, those numbers are important for us.
Numbers, right.
Yeah, they are important for us. And so economically, we did take a hit. Socially, it's important to connect within the country, but also among countries. So socially, all countries took a hit. Just as in all countries, Bhutan also took a hit because we were not able to connect with people from other countries and other cultures and distant lands. That's very important. Obviously, COVID did not allow us to connect in our own villages and towns also.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very difficult, yeah.
And as far as supplies, how did that affect? I mean, you are already in some areas very isolated.
It affected us like it affected everyone else. But our economy is small, and we are not really a consumer-driven society to the extent that the rest of the world is, particularly the West is. And so while supplies was affected, while supply chains were affected, that effect did not have that big an impact on us. That is not to say that economically we were not affected. We were affected. We are still trying to recover from the effects of COVID.
I mean, so did the fact that Bhutan is fairly isolated at least help it during COVID?
We are landlocked, but we are not isolated. We are integrated with the rest of the world, and therefore, when we had to shut our borders down because of COVID, it did affect us.
How do we get there? Are there airlines that supply lift? What's the best way to travel to Bhutan?
For an American, it would be airlines. You can come in through Kathmandu, via Delhi, via Bangkok. Most people prefer Delhi or Bangkok. Via Singapore. Soon we'll be starting regular commercial flights to Dubai. So you'd be able to come in through Dubai as well.
The type of traveler that comes to Bhutan, I would think they would be, and we cater to them, the luxury traveler or the adventure traveler or the one seeking cultural exposure. What are you seeing? What's the audience? What's the guest that keeps coming to Bhutan?
People who like to connect, not just with Bhutan, not just with our land and our people and our culture and our spirituality, but just enjoy connecting with people all over the world. This is the type of traveler that visits Bhutan, and these are the travelers that, as far as I'm concerned, they are on a journey, both physically but also figuratively speaking, and I think they make the best tourists.
Let's talk about your major cities, the ones that are attracting the most tourists, please.
Well, we have you can call Thimphu a city, that's the capital, but other than that we have different valleys and mountains. And tourists like to visit the valley in Thimphu and Paro and Punakha and Wandipodang and Pumtang and Pobjika. And we have many more of these valleys which are home to clusters of villages, and that's where we can offer our visitors and guests a taste of Bhutan's culture.
And so when a tourist is coming to Bhutan, except for your capital city, we're not talking major hotels, are we?
Well, in some of them we have hotels, and some of them we have luxury resorts.
Let's just talk about
Yeah, Alan, you'll have to come home. You'll have to come to my home. Yeah? I don't want. Well, we have. Without going into names, you could spend $1,000 a night, $1,500, $2,000, $2,500 a night in any of these resorts. And many of these resorts have a circuit. So over 5 valleys or 6 valleys, they will have a resort in each valley, and they will chaperone you. They will guide you from one valley to the next. So after 10 or 15 days, you've really experienced different valleys, different resorts, different products.
So you've answered another question. So a guest should plan for 10 days, 2 weeks, and they should plan to do a tour, and the travel advisor needs to learn about these circuits you speak of.
if you're traveling from America all the way to Bhutan,
You're not going to do it overnight.
Yeah, I would suggest that you spend a minimum of 10 days. You'll need to get over your jet lag. Yeah, and then really enjoy the country because it's so far away. You've invested so much time and energy and resources in getting there. You might as well go on the journey properly.
Let's talk about the future of tourism and also the new mindfulness city that you're proposing. Tell us what stage it's at as well.
The mindfulness city, the Gelifu mindfulness city. Gelifu is the area, the region, and it's a mindfulness city. It is a city that's being developed as a special administrative region, which will have its own laws, own government, own judiciary, independent from the rest of the country. And this is a unique experiment. This is a unique area that's being developed uniquely compared to all the other cities that are being developed in the rest of the world. A city where it's spread, it's huge, 2,600 square kilometers. It's rich because it has 2 national parks that are biodiversity hotspots. It has two rivers, big rivers, but many other tributaries crisscrossing the entire area. It's going to be spread about with low rises. We're not going to have high rises. And it's being developed as an urban living space where people can add value to other people's lives. People can add value to nature and sustainability and spirituality.
Travel advisors often take their guests and they say, listen, there's an event coming up. Would you like to attend this event? Let's talk about some events in Bhutan that might be worth going to.
We have quote-unquote events, what you call events. We have festivals. Every valley has a tradition of mass dance festivals where you can enjoy different types of dances, different types of mass dances. It's very cultural, where the entire community takes part in those festivals. They enjoy those festivals. We enjoy these festivals. Entire families and communities dressed in our finest local, our own national dress turn out. And these festivals are a good place to be in. Good time to visit Bhutan. But rather than events, I would really encourage you to think of a journey. Go there with an open mind, open heart. Visit us with open arms and learn about yourself.
Which means you can go anytime.
You can go anytime, any season. Go for a walk in our forests. Go for a walk through our villages. Engage with our people. Our wizened old men and women, but also our innocent children and monks going to school and monasteries. And if you can enrich yourselves, you enrich the world, right?
So tell me about the music and the food. I'm sure that you have a favorite food that we could hear about, and the type of music is what?
So in terms of music, when you sing, in general, all of us sing together. And we don't just sing, we dance as we sing. So we make a circle during any joyous occasion, and we sing and dance together. Rice is a staple, but we are known for red rice, which seems to be a lot more nutritious than most other rices. Chili is our staple. So our food is very spicy. We use chili almost as a vegetable. So we combine it with cheese, and chili cheese, ematasi, is almost like a national dish that comes in various variations. So you can have chili and cheese with potatoes, or with mushrooms, or with some dried meat or dried pork, various types of chili and cheese.
And I excuse my ignorance, but are there wines?
We have our own tradition of brewing alcohol, different types of alcohol. We have our beers. So basically we ferment some cereal, and every house will have a different way of fermenting. They have their own secret yeast and recipes and things like that. And we put that fermented cereal in a bamboo flask, fill it up with hot water, let it soak the goodness from the cereals, the fermented cereals, and then you can drink it through a thin bamboo straw. So that's the type of beer. Others would have the same concoction, but would use a strainer to remove the juices, and then we drink the beer that way. And then we have something called ara, where we distill the spirit, and that is served as it is, sometimes directly off the contraption we are making it, because it's on a fire. So sometimes we will fry an egg. Yeah, we'll fry an egg in butter and then heat the spirit in the ara, in the fried egg, and then enjoy it with the egg. Various ways of having it. Sometimes we ferment rice, and it's almost like a pudding, except that it's fermented. It's sweetish.
It's sweet.
Yeah, it has some eggs in it, butter in it, but it can give you a slight buzz.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So yeah, we have a tradition of different spirits and different alcohols. We have a few companies now making lager and white beer also, and then we have a couple of companies that actually make wine.
I'm getting the feeling that I can ask you this question. Bhutan would be a good place for someone who is into health and wellness, correct?
We are free of pollution. Our waters are clear. Our skies are clear. A lot of forests. And if you're into health, good health and well-being, it's a good place to trek, to walk, to run. But not just physical health and well-being. If you're into health and well-being, mental health and well-being, spiritual health and well-being, emotional health and well-being, come to visit us.
It's all fascinating. I really thank you for your time.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you. I enjoyed this. Thank you very much.
And this is Alan Vine for Insider Travel Report.